Hello, I'm Brett Lars Underwood. This is Joe Freeman, and welcome to Gateway to Mush. Gateway to Mush is the name of my next book. Not quite out yet. First one was called Mush. Second one was called Mush-a-Rona. Guess when that came out? Coronavirus. Corona. So Gateway to Mush. It's a little bit of a prequel, sort of, a lot of the material I wrote for this next book was written before Mush and Mush-a-Rona came out, so I'll give you a little bit of a glimpse of that with the preface for the new book, a preface aplenty. Find the journal scribbled in darkest hours long ago, a glimmer of light too, and wondering about how to make it in the world, and a re-education on the streets, in the alleys of St. Louis that have always been about who you know. Fucking nepotism. Thankfully, there are weirdos in music, art, and other forms of expression. Not too deep, but just say that beings of a younger age will either face the bullshit of this community and figure it out, or will stay in isolation and belch bullshit. Belch plenty of it, revel in it, revel in it, revel in it, revel in it. But maybe this is wrong. Figure out a way to connect with those isolated tweets and complaints and grumpy vibes. Sound weird here, but think of something positive to admit. Even weirder, breathe deep when freaking out. Love a spot on a wall as an image, as an homage to self. Breathe in and out. Find a park and escape the head. Give self up. Need a bodyguard? Find one. But find a place to give up, and I mean give up. You are not your ego. You are not your ego. You are not your ego. Your haircut, your friends, your sex life, your taste in music or food or blip, flop, fling. The darkness in our society can be overcome by love and creativity. Reason won't cure doubt. The mind doesn't hold the best of consciousness. The answers aren't all held in apparent solutions. It all seems hopeless, but you should know that wisdom lies in between two entities. That what you know and what you were afraid to know. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. Breathe. Nothing matters. Breathe. Walk. Pass the time. Feel it. Feel it. Kiss the knower of the power of beats and the reader of beats. Thank the jazz man who knows the bicycle and how to make music out of wind. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here.
Organization. He is weary of madness on parade. The feng shui isn't working today. He's tired of stepping on it all and being the behemoth in his space. He stacks the detritus all along the walls, sits down and stares at the page. He writes, a vista. Clear view through a cluster of clamoring nincompoopery. A walk amidst birds and trees and turn-of-the-century urban landscaping. The lungs of the city and frayed shoestrings commingle and shuffle. Sunshine and dilated pupils. Dreamy clouds form dreams. Lots of dreams. Dreams of order, dreams of silence, dreams of daydreams, of sleep and bliss in nightmares of clouds. While a breeze brushes the grass into nothing but park grass and man-made wonder, and, Mommy, the little girl said, why do some of these trees look plastic? Well, Jenny, the mother said, that's an interesting question. But maybe more interesting is the question, why are some trees made out of plastic? A police helicopter hovers over a nearby neighborhood. The crabble bears da-da, sang the little girl. What? Said the mother, exasperated. Daddy says that when Rosie walks into the room. Don't make me slap you again. Oh, Mommy. There was a pause exemplified by a space in this page, and then another one. Mommy, what's an orgasm? A diesel-powered leaf blower drowns the breeze of thought. I need to go to the mall. Not again, Mommy. What's that? The little girl screamed. The first word that came out of your mouth, the mother sighed. Rosie thinks our house is shit, said the little girl. The mother yanked the girl by the arm and walked her out of the park to the parking garage in her mind. They drove 24 miles to a shopping mall. There was a black cat in a camouflage hoodie holding a sign that read, "Waiting for MoDOT." The cloud swarmed into "Got MILF," and the mother began to cry yesterday's tears. She decided to buy shoes. Lots of shoes. He sighs and conceives airtight boxes housed in many shelved units, but can't find his hammer. He takes a majestic dump and decides to take a very long walk, during which he kicks a soda can for some time.
Organization will be in the next book, Gateway to Mush. Some fine work done there by some people that knew I didn't have a budget. This is going to sound kind of weird. Shut the fuck up! We're trying to make some music down here, jive-ass motherfuckers. John Zorn, August 1997, to Czech Republic President Václav Havel, U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, Laurie Anderson, and Lou Reed, who were talking during a Barakova show at the Knitting Factory. Their encroachment, sometimes welcome, sometimes haunting, can send a grown man to the John, the pulpit, the confessional, the madhouse. The same goes for all beings. Lasu Apsu Yelp, wolves bay. The car explodes. Little kitty cats mew. Daddy's got a squeeze box. Mommy cries herself to sleep. Karin is crazed by cuckoos in the night. The black blondes pop up and blabber in the venues, while the pizzicato and the strummers die in the idiocy of Listerine strips and clogged up ears. Bob saves up for a parabolic microphone with a tipsy makes washing sedan windshields with a squeegee. Frank apes ducks from a blind, though he is deaf. Boom, boom, chug, chug, munch, munch. No silence. Plunging needles, perhaps, or popping pills to bring peace, but no silence. The buzz continues. Din. And nobody knows sound like me. Nobody knows sound. I hate sound and wear earplugs to work, to sleep, to everything, so I don't have to wear that sound, man, said the perturbed technician. Postal workers hum and groan, delivering checks to pay for the buffering, and the AC units drown out the crimes of the night. Love and happiness conquer the banal screams of youths, and during the winter months, even Bach and Beethoven are muffled in the roar of the heaters, blowing their suffocating breath to keep the anemic from teeth chatters and shivers. A well-placed bug captures the ensuing moans, but can never take from her the past dalliances of the night and the voices for which she yearns. He'll never say, "I love you." He doesn't speak English. He thinks she just wants the bang-bang. Ashamed of her list, he mutters to himself as he backs away each morning when the sickness is at its most audible. The coffee maker percolates to the ticking of the clock. The wrinkle of the sheets recalls the nightmare, and a swift machete to the femoral artery of problems with mama. The Sawtooth Mountains invite Morricone to the piazza, and the nuns beg their pupils to seize before the whack, whack, whack of the rulers on bones. The couple upstairs are fucking real good now, and they aren't afraid to share. Jimmy turns up the Wu-Tang. The triggerfish and the tree shrew hump in the night too. And nobody knows sound like me. Nobody knows sound. I hate sound and wear earplugs to work, to sleep, to everything, so I don't have to wear that sound, man, said the perturbed technician. On the tripper side of town, the giggling and teeing is enough to quell thought. Piss drips silently down the thighs of the plebes. Breezes sing through the lips of the leaves. A broken guitar string heals itself and whispers love into a salamander's backside. The poet likes to think she is piddling her onomatopoeia into the porcelain late at night when the neighbors quit cheering on their children with one strop after another, after another, after another. The muse wants for crisp exactitude. His hip pops with each step. The senator is not convinced by the beating of the hummingbird's wings. Taking a sedative only muffles life's concert according to the Luddite. Trumps stop off to war in search of the rat-a-tat-tat of freedom and the squishy blood of the brown people, so you don't have to sell your body to the pimp with a booming system for another gallon of glug glug, glug glug, glug glug. The bass player wants more vocals in the monitor. Wolf Eyes signs with Sub Pop. The leaf blower shows gumption, but no horse sense. It's alarm, ask for an answer. 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 There is much fun in the gushing life source, in a blast to the brains with a blunderbuss, in a leaf rake across a certain smirk. The full moon sings its urgency in the minds of the night owls. Fenders crunch into each other, and a siren screams its self-importance as the doormen yell, "Last call! Last call! Can you hear yourself think? Where's your inner voice, El Presidente? Can you hear that jingle, jangle, jingle? The hunger pang of a nation set to the bed of youth, gargling Satan's jism for schism? Because there are rivers, because there are breezes, because there are trees blowing in those breezes. Nobody knows sound like you do, hound, like you do now. Like bats and sonar, bats and sonar, bats and sonar, bats and sonar. As a billion boots crunched broken iPods like frozen snow and skulls of those that have held the nightmares of these masses. I'll give you what for. Brother, can you hear me? Brother, can you hear me? Can you see me near you? Can you see me near you? Brother, can you feel me? Brother, can you feel me? Brother, can you feel me? Is that you singing? Eat some pie or shut it. Do you remember the first time you heard Devo while John Cage hunted mushrooms and danced to the twigs snap? Remember? 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 Ilse was thanking God that farts were audible and munching on corn chips. Meanwhile, there was an interminable hiss in the PA, and the featured speaker could not be understood as your stomach grumbled, and some chump cracked his knuckles and sucked on mentholyptus when he wasn't hacking up last night's fun. Schuler sneezes through a sizable schnoz. Kaufman pops a cough drop. The ball continues bouncing against the wall as the faucet drips, and a dwarf in wooden shoes does French press-fueled wind sprints on the wooden floors of your fragile mind. Time to jet to Zendo, Fifi, jet to Zendo, Fifi, jet to Zendo, Fifi, jet to Zendo. The checks come in the mail to pay for the buffering, and the AC units drown out the crimes of the night. Love and happiness conquer the banal screams of use, and during the winter months, even Bach and Beethoven are muffled in the roar of the heaters blowing their suffocating breath to keep the anemic from teeth chatters and shivers. A well-placed bug captures the ensuing moans, but can never take from her the past dalliances of the night and the voices for which she yearns. You'll never say, "I love you," say, "I love you." Ashamed of her lisp, he mutters to himself as he backs away each morning when the sickness is at its most audible. The coffee maker percolates to the ticking of the clock. The Sawtooth Mountains invite Morricone to the piazza, and the nuns beg their pupils to cease. On the chipper side of town, the giggling and teething is enough to quell thought. Piss drips silently down the thighs of the plebes. Breezes sing through the lips of the leaves. A broken guitar string heals itself and whispers love into a salamander's backside. The muse wants for crisp exactitude. The listener is not convinced by the beating of the hummingbird's wings. Karen is crazed by cuckoos for a night, Taking a sedative-only parlays a concert, according to the Luddite. Troops stomp off to war in search of the boom boom and the squishy blood of the brown people, so you don't have to sell your... I've heard about enough out of you, mister. The release of the safety hardly makes a noise. The killer stomps down a hall in anger. Knees knock. The full moon sings as Peter turns off the radio and locks the gates. Still find that one. You can still find it on 52ndcity.com, 52ndcity.com. It's originally published there. Thank you very much. Next up. Thank you for the clap. This one will come up in the next book as well. It's called Things the Sidewalks Say. The sidewalks say, this is the city. The sidewalks say, you aren't there yet. They say your car is around the corner. They say your feet hurt. They say you're tired. The sidewalks say you could use some grass. They say crack, 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 crack. The sidewalks say there are better things than asphalt. They say one step at a time. The sidewalks tell you to pick up your feet. They say your shoelaces have seen better days. The sidewalks say these worms won't survive this heat. They say the ants are hard at work. The sidewalks say, pick it up! Pick it up! They say this is the structure. The sidewalks say these roots are powerful. The sidewalks say birds shit, dogs shit, mud and hair weaves. They say this is what used to be called a dime bag. The sidewalks say you're tripping. They say crack, 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 crack. The sidewalks say you should take a walk. They say hear the secrets. The sidewalks say these buildings have basements. They say these buildings have weaknesses. The sidewalks say you want to know. They say fuck television, fuck cell phones, fuck it, fuck it. Fuck it, fuck it. The sidewalks say there's blood in the streets. They say there's blood in the soil. The sidewalks say there is injustice. They say the guy at the corner store knows. The sidewalk knows the truth. The sidewalks say, wait. The sidewalks say that you don't know the truth. They say you don't want to. The sidewalk is mocking you. The sidewalk says, go home and watch the footage. The sidewalk has the dirt. The sidewalks are uncovered. The sidewalks say, I will bring you to a place of forgiveness. They say that they know your hunger. They say the longing is only a symptom. They say you can overcome this. The sidewalks say crack, 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 crack. The sidewalks say you can do better. They say you missed the bus. The sidewalks say you will be better. They say you are loved. They say fuck that asshole. They say fuck that asshole. They say there's always tomorrow. They say there's nothing more than this. The sidewalks say that the leaves hide your shadow. The sidewalks say, look at the eclipse. They say you're not everything. They say there is no apocalypse. They say you are you. They say crack, crack. They say crack, 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 crack. Sidewalks say there's something lurking. They say you never know. The sidewalks say the meter is running. They say your luck is up. They say follow the money. They say crack, 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 crack. Sidewalks say there's no use in running. The sidewalks say, fight inside the belly of the beast. They say, you got this. They say, you know the truth. They say, these buildings are gonna fall. They say, this too will pass. They say, you're overthinking it. They say, you're tripping. They say, I'm harder than you. They say, I'm better than the streets. They say, crack, 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 crack. The sidewalks say that this is philosophy. They say that they will bring friends. They say that they will discover enemies. They say they will bring you promise. They say, go to the park. They say, it's not worth it. They say, God is strange. God is strange. They say, God is strange. They say, did you see that shit? Did you see that shit? Did you see that shit? They say crack, 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 crack. I wrote this recently when part of my tooth fell out and I was feeling kind of old. Missing the manatees. Missing the manatees.
Missing the manatees.
Now that my teeth are falling out and I feel close enough to angelic visions, I can share a gruesome modern thriller that incorporates science with a rust-resistant vision of a 14-year-old animator and all the big corporate leviathans missing the manatees and the foundation of Republican fundraising, suggested due to limited capacity, is now in comic form. You can kill terrorists with education. You can kill terrorists with education. You can kill terrorists with education. A gooey load with lots of personal sadness looks at the world of espionage. Film at 11. Film at 11. Film at 11. Years ago, I had free time. I used to be on the radio in the middle of the night. I wrote this for 50secondcity.com as well. It's called Late Night Radio. You've all heard the stories. There are drunken marauders storming the station late at night. They put a gun to the DJ's head and demand air supply, any air supply at 45 revolutions per minute. Then the jock spewing through a smirk. Don't ever utter revolution and air supply in the same sentence again, shitbird. We can conquer the world without breathing. Or the one about the man with a half-shattered mind, alone in a room with a microphone, 2 turntables, and a cassette player, digging through a box of cassette tapes and mumbling into a live microphone about that perfect track, wishing it was on his fingertips, wishing it were on the air, wishing for anything but this moment which yawns with ennui in the ears of some listeners and fascinates other. Revel in the absurd. Revel in the absurd. Revel in the absurd. All unaware that a pizza delivery girl enters the room on a skateboard, strips, squats up on an office chair, and spins with mad abandon whilst lustfully lapping up music from dusty LPs. Her hands turning the records clockwise across her tongue so that she ingests so much E minor tragedy that she begins to weep. Not long after, the host lays down his fingers on that Charlie Pride he was searching for, and the girl dissolves into dust. Tears and all, tears and all, tears and all. Then there's the story you like to tell about how you heard this late-night jock babbling at a bar about some older woman who called claiming she used to talk to Moondog on the bus as they rode through the Lower East Side back in the 70s. Or was it the 60s? And something about him having attended the Missouri School for the Blind. And it was kind of weird because he, himself, the radio guy, was riding the 13th to the Central West End, reading DeLillo, when he heard the woman's voice. The same one from the radio. She was climbing into the bus with a walker, and he watched her and listened to her conversation with the bus driver as she got off at Barnes to work at a gift shop, and no, he didn't introduce himself. Or the federal judge crying on the phone to the host because he was rude and hung up on him while he was forlorn and riding around the east side and just wanted to hear some tall while he and a transvestite ate jet pops in the back of a limo. In the back of a limo. In the back of a limo. None of it is true, though. They're all urban legend or lies. None of that could ever happen on late night radio to late night radio hosts. For events such as this to occur, for instance, at KDHX at 1:45 on a Friday morning, the sun would have to implode, and Reagan would reincarnate as the son of John Denver to save the world from schmaltz, Yes, for some arrangements to be made, that much would be imperative, you innocent clams who yearn to produce such pearls. No, what happens to KDHX and at KDHX during late night radio is beyond words. Or it used to be. I couldn't describe it even if I remembered any of it. I'm having a Biden moment. It is as if aliens steal my memory as I exit the building after hosting an episode of The No Show, and I am left to float home on a beam of light in a fringe-topped horseless carriage. I mean, I had the recordings to prove to myself that I was at the station, the overhauled bakery on Magnolia. That's me on the recordings. The crumpled playlists were there in my bag and archived on the station's website, or used to be. I recall standing outside the station, smoking a quick cig as some kids swerved through an intersection after carjacking a fraught damsel, chasing down the street with cell phone to head, blood trickling down her torn hose and left knee. And last summer I stopped by the station on my bike to check my email and found two punk rock show producers outside talking to the police about the woman who was handcuffed in the back seat of the squad car now. She had stopped her truck while one of them was loading records into his. She ran towards him screaming, "I can't stand it anymore!" And nothing else. However, these incidents all happen outside the station. But my friends claim they have visited me while I was doing the show and left because I wouldn't talk or even look at them, and the phone would ring and I'd quote what sounded like Zorn's horn and Bukowski mixed together and slam the phone down, cackling and frothing at the mouth while grabbing an LP with my other hand and smashing it across the console. But you can't trust those loons. They feed buffalo chips to Starring Sue and argue over soda products and the colors of caulk. I can only hope that they too will someday learn what it's like to be in the zone, I can only share one late night KDHX story with you and hope that it resembles the story I would tell if I could remember anything about doing my show, because it happened before midnight this time on New Year's Eve a couple of years back. And so it was not yet in my sense of time, late night. I was covering another host's show so he could hold one of his underground cheese curls and sparkling water orgies. The previous host had left in a huff, shrieking something about hippies or long hairs or something, as I spun into the program with some old peruti, and was having a leisurely go of it like most veteran hosts do, and the phone calls are rapid fire and the tracks are long enough to type in a playlist, allowing mind and fingers to cue up the next track, PSA, or the like. I answered a couple of requests for material which I could not fill. No sweat. I don't have the material. It's not my show. Enjoy the bubbly, sweet birdies of the night. I'm a grinning volunteer, bridled only by insouciance and the need for solitude, huddled in a small room with my fingers at the controls of the airwaves, and a live internet stream fueled by nameless urges and caffeine, I said to the clock. Later, I recalled my wish to spend a New Year's Eve on my back atop a hill or mountain, cocooned in a thermal sleeping bag with a view of the stars and planets. I was spinning records and imagining such a night when I came across I Am God from Negative Land's 1993 album, Free. It is a reflective, sometimes shocking and humorous audio collage which opens with children singing about the ecumenical movement and features a repeated chant of I am God, you are God, you are God, we are all God, we are all God,
We are all good.
Surely a piece which might incite a response, people being so trigger happy when it comes to their religious beliefs, I thought. I mean, I've heard the stories about radio personalities being shot in the parking lot outside other radio stations, and I've heard other producers tell stories about being threatened by nutbag collars. I've only recently been brave enough to watch Play Misty for me, so I fathomed that I might draw some frustrated demon out of the cold, dark night. Nope. Wrong. Didn't have a call for the rest of the show. I had a couple of bands and a party to catch afterwards, so I was packed up and ready to roll when I potted up the announcement at the end of the show and cleared the way for the next show's hosts. I shouldered my bag of tricks and walked outside with my attention focused on the upcoming hours. I had ambled about halfway down Magnolia to Grand when the firewalks and gunfire announced midnight on the south side. There were a couple kids across the street, launching bottle rockets willy-nilly in all directions, and I thought for a moment that I might make a likely target, but rounded the Montessori on the corner and walked up Grand free of damage. The gunfire sounded automatically, clearly, and rapidly, but distantly. I was home, re-guard, ready for action, back out the door, and by 12:20 I had parked the car halfway between the bars and the house party, and I was standing in CBGB with an oatmeal stout and a gambrinus-like thirst. The king's spirit sang softly into a drunken woman's ear as he shot me a wink fueled with jiggers of corn. Her squirming disgust was pitiful, like souls sleeping dreamlessly, like cyborgs on Soma. She was having none of it. There was still a hint of displeasure to show for her pride, though, so I wrestled the spirit away, and we shared old memories from having been at play between our respective headphones and four walls. And you can find that on 50secondcity.com. I'm like, not everything's on there, just this stuff. One more from the new book that's not out yet. It's called Rubble. When a certain level of oomph has gone from the jets, you put the junk in the hangar. Huh? But now, airing the lungs past the Dutchtown corner store, the ladies have spied my sneakers and comment as I nod and smirk, not sure what. Up the front porch steps and cracking up as the key turns. A rambling, stumbling, and tumbling toddler is amused that a dog is shitting on the sidewalk across the way. The kid jabbers and sings of the wonder of defecation, running ahead of the crowd. Poop, 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 doggy, poop, poop. Weather is good for the lazy ambling. Life is life. A pebble or seed is lodged in the craw, though. Get your oyster, yuppie and woo-hoo warriors. It's your Saturday as the bombs drop. And now it is time to step inside, for the matrons are perturbed. Their perceived order has been upset once again, as the world topples into rubble, both physical and mental. How's everybody doing? Joe's the co-founder of
Outside of the morgue thing and a huge dump trailer in a forbidden depth of massive thought, it would be best to ease privileged souls of down power for long-term play in a Halloween costume in a 1949 sedan where people love a dry ass. Only mildly incapacitating a plumber for a rather easy job on a long haul with a Bernie reading infinite jest on the newfangled flip phone. 30 miles in, there was a conversation about solar shithouses. 9 months later, you know the rest. When the twin girls' mother called the school's sassiest yucca plant salad, It was very rare to see whatever it takes, including special requests in a timely and consistent manner. Evil for second hand is a rallying cry of pragmatists long thought of by society as conspiracy theorists and kooks everywhere after feet worn from work. Scrub them clean, young, and with the mothers of families where nothing happens, then everything happens. And a bit of radio blowing is hard. And the most important thing is that electrotherapy was used to treat soldiers in prepubescent peace as the world sounded 100% like a child. Fart magic, belch beautiful. You gotta grab society by the ears. You gotta look it in the eyes. You gotta clean out its ears and get at the lay of the land. Tell us the similarities between Pootie Tang and John Cage. Joe Freeman is coming home.
Yeah, that was from the Pat Sajak Assassins album called Sounds Like Technology. You can find it on Bandcamp. I'm on some of their stuff sometimes. That was great. And Joe Freeman is home. He's here right now. Coming up, we got another one from the new book, Gateway to Mush. It's Tuesday morning. It's Tuesday morning. It's Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning. This is the kind of morning when the garbage truck would shatter our minds because we left the window open. This is the kind of morning when I'd get up to take a piss and freak out for a few minutes until I located my wallet, keys, and stepped outside to locate the sled. This is the kind of morning when I'd return to bed with 2 bottles of beer and drizzle some on your belly before I went down. This is the kind of morning when the boombox was next to the mattress and I would run my fingers up and down the dial until you woke up and needed to hear My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, the Thrill Kill Cult, Thrill Kill Cult to warm you up. And it did. This is the kind of morning when you all flipped out. Coming back from the can. Where's the boa? Where's the fucking boa constrictor? The fucking window is open, the garbage truck, the dumpster's right down there. Oh fuck, Brian's gonna kill me. This is the kind of morning when I'd march through 10 inches of snow to be with you when you called on a landline and cried about your night. This is the kind of morning when your ex would be banging on the front door, which was easy enough to ignore from the bedroom in the back, but banging on the window just behind the curtain, here, now, wow. I said, I thought I was your backdoor man. You said, the future says, serve me again, serve me again, serve me again. I felt it, and so did you, and with each thrust to the beat of his fists on wood, glass, and steel. This is the kind of morning I think about waking solo on the unforgiving futon, scrolling through whatever fucking videos that were hilarious in the smoke of last night. On this kind of morning, I'm not sure what to do. Let's smash up some garlic, cook some beans, boil and fry some eggs and pork. Rain coming, so I might skip the walk on neuropathic trails. Oh, here's an avocado. Here's an avocado. Here's an avocado. The rain hits the windows gently. Maybe some Terry Riley and a nap. Scrolling through memories of mornings like this. The next one's called Spew. It's about an experience I had at a place called Mangia Italiano down on South Grand, a place that used to have, sometimes twice a day, a delicious buffet of fresh vegetables and pasta. It was very good. It kept us healthy, despite our lifestyles. Just one day. More energetic and delirious than I'd been in a while, a customer at the bar upped the giddy with silly shit spurting forth with innocent excitement about the world of the new. I'm not kidding, Violet, he said to the bartendress. I don't care what it is, but I like to try anything I haven't had before. That was good, he said of the lager. What else you got? She poured him a pale ale and he piped up again. Heads turned, heads turned, heads turned. We were sipping coffee on a day that hadn't quite yet kick-started itself. I barely got some lunch in me and was starting to long for the smoke I had left in my flat. The coffee meant nothingness into something but nothing, and I felt conscious for the first time since the whiskey and chronic buzz I had put on a couple nights ago, before cold and dark days of reading and sleeping. I discovered pizza had all you can eat, the wackadoo continued, loud enough for all to hear in the dining room. Man, I had salad and 9 pieces of pizza, and then I had some cottage cheese and some pudding. The cat next to me now was crying into his sleeve, trying his best not to laugh out loud. Then my buddy called and wanted me to hang some drywall with him. Oh no, I'm immobilized. The shit satellite radio poured more 80s schlock into the mix. I knew I couldn't last long thinking of all the hopeless love I had spent while listening to the Drek, but somehow it felt good, sparked by the coffee and an increasing need for inhalation. You show me all I can eat Gray's bar and I'm there, he cackled. I wish they had a place that had it all. I'd munch cheeseburgers, souvlaki, and kanamaki. This little dude must have a tapeworm, I thought. And how does he know about sushi? He didn't look like the type. A buzz cut, weathered face, and workaday demeanor. But there was something crazy and angelic about it. He took his days with him, I guess. I don't know. I remember thinking that now was enough for him. And he was definitely enough for all of us. He had us by the ovaries and gonads. He let us dive down and sink to our own comments about Morrissey and the shit-ripped DJ. Let us look out the windows onto the banking public on Grand Boulevard. Let us sip and wonder what next. And then, I started drinking when I was 5. Skulls on necks spun, they did. I used to sit on my granddaddy's lap and drink beer, Violet. He had us on the hook again and was reeling us back in, but I was glad that I was not him, yet jealous and envious somehow. He used to give me whiskey too. Violet kept herself together somehow. The rest of us were either stunned or crumbling to pieces, but she was clocked in and simply grinning a little bit. Do you like that pale ale? That's what I drink, she said. I liked her composure, but I wanted more. Oh man, this is fucking great! What is this? Violet pointed at the pale ale tap handle. It's kind of fruity! He squeaked as the boy to my left lost it, spewing mucus across his plate of partially eaten chicken wings. We all shuffled onward and awkwardly in our spaces, took another sip of Java, looked back out the glass onto South Grand. Violet made like she had something urgent to do in the kitchen. Sometimes when you fall asleep in the hammock, it's because you're up kind of late doing something. And then you wake up, you find out. Muted wisdom, muted wisdom, muted wisdom. In the pre-dawn morning dark, the call of the birds enraged him. He rolled out of the hammock and put his foot in his back pocket, fell face first into the stars that contained last night's fire. The bug bites were portals from the wild to gather signs, messages, signals, and wisdom from the wind, the critters, the creepy crawl, ease and unheard, those shut out of the media and board meetings. Some of the cries of the night are muted, but the helicopters have eyes, and there is blood seeping into the roots. Ants are there to gather and interpret intel. The same willful ignorance that ignores the medicine man puts their antennae on music. A fairly recent one, and it's going to be on poetrybay.com pretty soon, thanks to George Wallace, and poet laureate of the Walt Whitman House up in New York State. It's called In This Lifetime. as close as my face to the pillowcase during dreams. But that's not the same. Not in the brain. It is the shadow of the Jungian field. Hollywood gets it all misty, starlit, yet flickering on you semi-flaccid tube, and the morning doves are no match for the nightmares, the call of eggs and another bottle of wine. But the hens are at rest, and the grapes are greedy. Dutchtown quiets down as the blood seeps into the ground, or washes into the gutters on Monday mornings when there is no work but words. Another sip, sleep, maybe lunch, maybe another one, soon a nibble, soon a nibble, soon a nibble. But never the whole bite. Not in this lifetime sort of days malaise. She was, I don't remember though, her name. Maybe she wasn't. So it's called cop drink piss. It's called cop drink piss. It's called cop drink piss. She put kimchi on cheese sandwiches and was proud of her nasty streaks. She had a sense of humor, despite it all, and an appreciation for the theater of the absurd, like that scene in Dumb and Dumber where the cop drank piss. Out at night, up in the air, she drifted into the motherfucking stratosphere. Amazing like midnight in a daisy. Unlikely, days less than once nightly. She fell prey to envy. She fell prey to greed, lying alone in darkness. She fell prey to need. It's another one that was on poetrybay.com, thanks to George Wallace. It's called I Wish You Could Fly. 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 Bob's down for affliction. Maybe have a wank with a wallaby, or not. It's a thought. Able to help with mental yoga and flossing and the affectations of lots and lots. We have rats, unfortunately. We have rats, unfortunately. We have rats, unfortunately. Man, I wish you could fly. Man, I wish you could fly. Man, I wish you could fly. Real good at being a gopher and smashing your television minds. And Granny's twat has made a silly putty. She knows it's funny. After a nap in the sand, it becomes apparent they're not so happy. They can hardly count that they're leaving the band to move on to a new relation with something like Sid in the Outback. But not gonna ride the gravy train and know that someday they're gonna say that they missed the buffet at the Anarchist Cafe and the urgency in the photographer's eye on the morning after the radio show broke the little toes of a mine. Man, I wish you could fly. Man, I wish you could fly. Man, I wish you could fly. Bill punched fries today and the biceps are happy wappy pappy. Almost suspicious to better check under the sea, turning into a cartoon version of themselves. Thinking before speaking, more like saying, I don't know. I don't know. She escaped outside so she could smell where she's supposed to be, thanks to the college wrestling fans and lack of impetus from humanity on a slab, minus the phone holder. Mommy might prefer jazz. He might prefer jazz. Do as I say, not as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. When older, he did it silently. Said sharks might prefer jazz, other types of music, or others well suited for any adventure in the night side by side, who rides and raids some rookie in spring training for the growth of the bacteria, who can't lay down a bunt or fathom the hit and run that causes botulism, immediately publicizes minivans, aren't usually considered hip whack, but deemed the highest in hierarchy rule. Rude, slang, literally to defecate while wearing one's clothing. Man, I wish you could fly. Man, I wish you could fly. Man, I wish you could fly. What is that, tofu? Keep it coming. I done told you once. Then she'd cup your balls and say, I love yourself. Well, so far the Witcher's scoring fairly high in the all-around bonkers scale. It's only the third inning, but not gonna ride the gravy train. And he knows that someday they're gonna say that he'll miss the buffet at the Anarchist Cafe. And the urgency in the photographer's eye on the morning after a radio show broke the little toes at 12 miles per hour when he said on the air, "That's right, come to St. Louis, we will kill you, we will kill you," with a smirk unseen on the radio. "Put on shoes and stumble towards the stillborn nest of sad hens," she said, giggled amongst her curtain. "See, do the kid's virus genotype infection prove to fuel 6 indicators of brain performance: focus, accuracy, memory, learning, concentration, and reasoning. Goes well with your morning, and their imagination." Being Oprah to be more effective? She escaped outside so she can smell where she's supposed to be. After a nap in the sand, it becomes apparent we're so happy we can hardly count that I'm leaving the band to move on to a new relation with something like Sid in the Outback. Maybe have a wank with a wallaby, or not. But that is what it takes and thinks. Is it like a kangaroo mixed with a simile? And now to sports, to the college wrestling fans and lack of impetus from humanity. We've got what it takes to put on shoes and walk towards the stillborn mass of sad hens. And I'll dunk Cholula all over them, dunk them in a cauldron of the efforts of South American slave trade, cup by cup by cup, breakfast. But not gonna ride the gravy train, and you know that someday you're gonna say that you missed the buffet at the Anarchist Cafe. And the urgency in the photographer's eye on the morning after his radio show broke the little toes of your mind. Man, I wish you could fly. One more from Gateway to Mush. Not the final snafu. Two tools that change the way people think can be loves to stop now. We compiled reflections on the life. These are indications. You can deal with any crazy tissue that pops up today, but you half believe in yourself. Things are better than you realize, even if this snafu looks like the end of the world. There's always time to drop water balloons on the gendarmerie, chortling all the while in a time of surprises and disguises. Millionaire turf, millionaire turf, millionaire turf, millionaire turf, millionaire turf. A friend has a hole in her heart and wants to fill it with baby teeth. Is that even a thing? She said she filled it with shoes, but it didn't do the trick. Anyway, there's a cyber call to help her out. She's in a state. She's up all night digging those shoes out of there. The ever-tapping concern suggests on their gadgets it's going to take a fuck ton of teeth to do the trick. Some summer evenings, the cicadas think they're impervious if a dolphin in the bathtub says that the umlaut is the clitoris language, The nipples are weeping. But failures in the swelling of joints and the nightmares of sparse crowds breaking into fights amidst the sublime. Failures in the faces of heroes and friends, their losses swirling down the drains of the angelic. Too busy to deal with the mess of the bored attempts to kill time. Goalposts and millionaire turf, amped but nervous despite an overwhelming sense of despair in the street. Stuffing cabbage under caps in fear of collapse leaves guilt-tripped ween off need, but waste energy sprinting after shots behind the curtains of all erratic fellatio. Bounce, check, swing, bounce, check, swing. Of a homeless guy in nice sneakers, just in time for a new CVS sidewalk nap after midnight. Ears are ringing. Someone is thinking of she and him, and then he busts out laughing. Ha ha ha! She and him make a ship! Meanwhile, wars are singing. Give something millionaire janitor seeking pleasure and weird, beautiful, functional, suitable vacancy, unlike affordable housing. You just can't get quite deep enough. But you can bang the hell out of the sides. Try not to worry too much. Mismatched energy is kind. Things devolve into the problem you're facing. Gallons and gallons of spaghetti sauce with Fred Rogers hovering over your bedhead under the memory of tree limbs and yard waste. Freedom and yard waste. Freedom and secret thoughts of love and hatred. Get the performance you're looking for. For the out of town to be nimble and kept art, fart, smell of raw nature is more bewildering. But could you tell what it is? Nothing compared to it. Any weed, beautiful and heavy, a cold, wet fig. Good night, boy. There's the boy's drawing of the golden peacock. Despite the woman saying no to him, he continued to ask her questions and pet her cat. A friend has a hole in her heart and wants to fill it with baby teeth. Is that even a thing? She said she filled it with shoes, but it didn't do the trick. Anyway, there's a cyber call to help her out. She's in a state, was up all night taking those shoes out of there. Yet her tapping concern suggests on their gadgets it's going to take a fuck ton of teeth to do the trick. Who's your kid's orthodontist? Who's your kid's orthodontist? Who's your kid's orthodontist? Also, can a cactus own a duck? Hammocks are best suggesting we all take a chill pill and hang loose, inclined to say no to choppy surf waffles and old school death. Use insurance wipes to erase corpses. Giving you cookies is nothing new, packed with trinkets, deeply annoying, dream, phrase, pops, genitalia on the copier before they actually do it. No explanations, no reviews, mostly cloudy perceptions and thoughts, excited to take the first hop. That's it for today. Goodbye, grasshoppers. Goodbye, grasshoppers. Goodbye, grasshoppers. Yearn to be at peace, flanked by a tactical unit with all the junkheads, ending America's innocence. Tarzan speaks outside in the splash pad into some torn security blanket, dusty toys and books, or so the reports say. So I'm going to be lazy and ask you instead of Google where this took place to vote on the gun bill chain letter assault on another woman who was walking her dog, and you die to vote on the patrol bill chain letter, playing ping pong in the Andes. This is what happens when you meet a Nazi in the Alps. Translated in Google. A cherished cockatoo, log, blop, bing, blop, friends massing on the jungle gym. Is there an echo in here? Is there an echo in here? Is there an echo in here? It's weird when people seek pleasure in beautiful, functional, suitable coffin space pain translated into Google and a cherished cockatoo, log, block, bing, bop, and friends massing on the jungle gym. Become a stenographer to the appropriate person terrified by the local wise woman's triple prophecy. Donnie's suicide. McKee's pussy exposed. Sinkefeld impaled on a horny bishop. Wouldn't know what to do with this, her perforated love muscle. Not even with a broken down trolley full of baby teeth. We got one more to go. And that'll be the end of the Gateway to Mush show. It's called Gush. In between the highlight films and kitty videos, there's blood in the stool of your makeup. See it swirling down the bowl as you stand up and turn to look down, or miss it as you check your look in the mirror. In South America, it swirls one way. In Mongolia, it swirls the other. Clock tick, counter Glock click, licks the sand of the time of your is, was, might have been away. Name the difference, draw the line. Fear and ignorance make some tasty hate. Talking to one another doesn't change the fact, nor does your method, your horsepower, your wealth, your flipped bird and traffic urgency, the clack of cuffs, the fence, the signs, the cold shoulder. It is in the pipes. It is in the sewers. It is in the sewer. It is dripping from the cave wall. From the cave wall. From the cave wall. It is amidst the sunshine, in the veins and the arteries. The moon and the sun and you are made from the same slop. The same plants that make your flags, your styrofoam, your sandals, your Sunday fun day, your slow drip, your happy pills, your goofballs and elixirs. It is soaked into the soil where heroes dance in victory, in celebration of one goal after another, or another clickbait vote. It lubricates the rocks and gives your neighbor Ebola. 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 Victories and nothingness are celebrated by useless whores and cubicle slaves upon the dead, and you send your pasta back. And another gunshot makes it drip and gush. It is in the streets, outside the bodega. Don't taste it. Don't look. The strategies of the genius always win. While you check your bank account, while you discuss salad and colors of cock, the colonel rapes the maid after she dusts and shines. All of that soon to be in Gateway to Bush, Gateway Spartan Press. Thank you very much. Thank you, Joe. We'll be back tomorrow at 10:45, Friday. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Bye. Thank you.
Hey, man, hey.
Good. Yeah.
That's Saturday, right?
Yep, Saturday. With beauty pageant and a few others.
No, I know that. It's as always.
Awesome, dude. Nice work. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know, we were going to play
Is it sidewalk or sidewalk set? Think, okay, so think, yeah, that's the second time for that one. Yeah. And that's I know, right? I know. Did you tell me that story like 20 years ago?
No, it wasn't 20 years ago.
Yeah. Did I hear it at the bar?
I had some questions.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, and I've heard that's over too.
All the lights are up?
I just turned one of them.
No, I'm the boards.
Oh, up there, yeah. No, I wasn't there on Sunday, but we went down.
Dude, hell of a job. Hell of a job.
Thank you.
Is that hard?
What?
Is it hard?
No, easy. It's fun. Twiddling things, like, it's fun.
Yeah. Now, that was, you control the visual too, right?
Yeah, mostly just,
That's this is a loop though, right?
yeah.
Okay, that's the whole loop. The rest of it, pretty impressive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just remember I met you a couple of years ago, so I was bartending at the tap room when this was going on.
Probably. Yeah, I've been doing this for about 6 years.
Yeah.
Your performance reminded me of something. Do you know the old radio show, Jazz, like NWD?
Oh, yeah. Well, I did middle of the night radio.
So, yeah. I bet not a lot of people here are old enough to have gotten the records from them.
No.
I grew up in New York City and I saw,
Yeah.
I used to hang out at 6th Avenue and I forget what cross street, like most days. And he's like 6'9",
Yeah, he was a big
he's
dude.
got the Viking helmet on.
Can you imagine that guy at the Missouri School for the Blind?
He was born in the town in rural Kansas where my wife went to high school.
Oh, okay.
Marysville, Kansas, population 32. His father was well, that's right.
Okay. Glad to meet you. Let's meet.
That was cool. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.